2024 in football can be described in many ways: ludicrous, legacy defining, first timers, and downright ridiculousness.
Samina mina, waka waka, samina mina sangalewa. This time for Africa.
2024 was filled with many joyous moments in football. From Leverkusen going on an invincible run in the Bundesliga, to Atalanta and Olympiacos winning their first European trophies, to the crazy international tournaments that we saw this year, and we also saw legends leaving their clubs.
I will leave the club at the end of the season.
We gonna be all right.
We're going to go around the globe, people, from South America to Asia to Africa to North America to Europe. We start off in South America, where it wasn't just the Copa America, where yes, Argentina won another Copa America and have now completed their dynasty of a Copa America, Finalissima, World Cup, and the Copa America trophy they won this year. But I have to give massive kudos to Colombia, who made the final, but unfortunately, they couldn't get the job done. And shout out CONMEBOL and the officials and the security guards in Miami for hosting and organizing a horrific final that was marred by the disastrous organization within the final. But at the end of the day, Lautaro came up clutch and Argentina won another trophy. But there was a redemption story like no other in South America, where Botafogo went from the worst bottle job in history of football to not just winning the Brasileiro for the first time since 1995, they also won the Copa Libertadores. They were playing with 10 men in the final from the 30th second in the game after this crazy red card. But no matter what, Botafogo withstood the pressure, and John Textor is looking like the GOAT owner, and Botafogo became the third team from Brazil to do the double, winning the Brasileiro and Copa Libertadores, the ultimate redemption story by them. North America, nothing spectacular other than another dynasty was completed, as Club America didn't just win 2 Liga MX titles in a row, they won 3 titles in a row. A dynasty completed in Mexican football like nothing seen before. We move over to Asia, and the Asian Cup did not disappoint. Yes, Qatar won back-to-back Asian Cups, and people can ridicule them talking about, oh, look at the competition, all the referees are favoring them. You gotta give credit to Akram Afif, the baller he is, stepping up with a hat-trick in the final. But the tournament was definitely about the underdogs of Jordan and Tajikistan. Jordan, who made their first ever Asian Cup final with the brilliance of Al Naima, Al Tamari, and Olawan, to Tajikistan making it to the quarterfinal of the competition. Japan and South Korea once again fumbling in an Asian Cup, but you could definitely say the game of the year in football was at the Asian Cup between Iraq and Jordan in the round of 16, where Iraq took a 2-1 lead thanks to Ayman Hussein, but he got a red card for this celebration. And once it got it to added time, Jordan came up clutch with 2 late goals to win the game 3-2 in arguably the greatest Asian Cup game in history, and for me, the game of the year in football. But shout out to Sofian Rahimi in the AFC Champions League. He scored 13 goals, equaling the best goal tally in a single AFC Champions League campaign, as Al Ain won their second AFC Champions League in history. But the most ludicrous tournament was no doubt the AFCON earlier this year, where we didn't just see Algeria, Ghana go out in the group stage. We saw Ivory Coast sack their manager after the group stage and go on and win the tournament. The tournament was filled with goals, upsets, just everything you love about AFCON, going even more berserk. But we had a beautiful story at the end with Haller beating cancer and also scoring the defining goal that would win Ivory Coast the tournament. But shout out to the AFCON, shout out to the likes of South Africa, to Cape Verde, to Mauritania causing the upsets, and Angola as well. What an awesome tournament. No doubt the AFCON was by far the best tournament and the best football this year in football.
It goes to Fofana, low down, and he's in the back of the net. And Ivory Coast has surely won it. Extraordinary.
And we round up in Europe, where there was a lot of storylines to go around. We saw Man City complete a 4P. We saw Ten Hag win an FA Cup and then get sacked later in the year. We saw Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool after 8.5 years at the club. We move over to Spain, where of course Madrid won another Champions League. It's Madrid at the end of the day, and they added the La Liga title to it. But the best story in Spain was no doubt Athletic Club. Athletic Club went 40 years without winning a Copa del Rey. They had suffered bad losses to Barcelona. They even lost the Copa del Rey final against their bitter rival Real Sociedad in the final. This year, they were not to be denied, as they beat Mallorca on penalties to finally, after 40 years, lift the Copa del Rey. Valverde saying it was the most important trophy he's won in his career, and Athletic Club, with their wonderful policy, a policy that they should not be winning any trophies with, defied the odds and returned back to greatness. But the craziest story was no doubt Bayer Leverkusen, as Bayer Leverkusen scored late goal after late goal after late goal, as they somehow went unbeaten and were the first ever invincibles in Bundesliga history. And they did the domestic double, adding the DFB Pokal. A great story, and Florian Wirtz returning from an ACL injury and putting up a season like that, it will forever be remembered in Bundesliga history. You could say that the best stories in Europe were in the European competitions. Yes, Real Madrid won the Champions League. Nothing big there. But it's about the Europa League and Conference League, as Atalanta faced the formidable Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League final. And they didn't just win the trophy, it was the Alamala Lukman masterclass, as he scored a hat-trick in the Europa League final. And Gasperini won his first ever trophy as a manager. Atalanta added their first ever European trophy in their history. A marvelous 10 out of 10 performance by the team, and now Gasperini can sit at the table with a trophy. And Atalanta, what a masterful story it was. And cannot forget Olympiacos, as Olympiacos went on a ridiculous run in the Conference League, having crazy late comebacks, also beating Aston Villa on the road to the final. And in the final, they played the final in Athens, not in their own stadium, but at one of their biggest rivals, AEK Athens Stadium. And they beat Fiorentina, and Mendilibar just did a back-to-back Europa League and Conference League trophies. And Olympiacos became the first ever Greek team to win a European trophy. And Al-Kabi, I mean, you could say he turned into R9 during this whole entire Conference League run. And the final story in Europe was España, as Spain won their first international trophy since the golden times of Spanish football, 2012 Euros. An unfancied Spain team, not many people picked them to win the Euros, but they shocked everybody, not with the star players, but the unsung heroes from Orizabal to Nico Williams stepping up in the final, and Spain handed England another loss in a final. When is England ever going to win a major competition? But no doubt those Euros were boring. As a fan of international football, even I can admit that those Euros were bad quality, uninspiring football from a lot of the top nations, and no doubt Spain were the deserving winners, winning every single game and playing the best football by far. So kudos to Luis de la Fuente. Let's go to some individual awards. Not the best player or anything like that, but for me, the best game 2024 was Jordan and Iraq in the Asian Cup. If you want to have an honorable mention, it is of course Georgia versus Turkey in the Euros. If you want to talk about the most improved player from 2024, for me, it's got to be Omar Marmoush. This guy in 2024 is just destroying teams in the Bundesliga, scoring goals in the Europa League. He's had an incredible 2024. You can even add Rafinha in there for the second half of 2024. So 2024 was filled with crazy moments, and we didn't even discuss about Marco Reus leaving Dortmund and Toni Kroos retiring from football, to Mauro Anfellini retiring from football, and of course one of the greatest midfielders ever, Andres Iniesta, also retiring. And we had the sad news that one of the greatest footballers in history, Franz Beckenbauer, is no longer with us. But what a great thing by Bayern Munich to retire his number from the club. So yeah, 2024 in football was insanity. But let me know your thoughts, people. What is the best footballing moment in 2024? It can be a goal, it can be a game. Remember to like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We are closing in on 20K. When we have 20K subscribers, there will be another giveaway on the channel. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. And 2025 could be even crazier. Adios.